Okay, we're back in. I will share my screen and we'll continue. All right. This is where we stopped. The high self-managing team. Make sure everyone is seeing this. Yeah, self-managing team. So, as the name implies, this type of team, they operate without managers, and they are responsible. Nobody really control them. And at the same time, their job is to complete work processes and segment that deliver products or services to internal customers. So, but the bottom line that they're not, they operate without managers. They are self-directed. And I give an example with the Tennessee Eastman division of Kodak company. So where we have teams that are responsible for the whole product lines, things like processing, lab work, and packaging, especially particularly. And so with their shared team responsibilities for the work outcome, the members of the team that does these things, when I say things, I mean processing, lab work, and packaging. So they often have they have a broad job assignment and cross-train sometimes to master the jobs. So with that cross-training, it enhances team flexibility. So they work as a team to get the product from the processing stage to the packaging stage. And this leads us to the next thing in line, which is the virtual teams. Now, what do we call the virtual teams? Well, they are called virtual teams because the members convene. And they work together through computer mediation instead of face-to-face. So, and it's really a common thing these days. The COVID that struck the world in the early 2000, I would say late 1999, late 2019 and early 2020, actually make work teams very popular, and so I'm sorry, make virtual teams to be very popular. So working in electronic space and free from the constraint of geographic distance, members of the virtual team can do the same thing as members of face-to-face groups. They can share information, make decisions, and complete tasks. But there's a downside of virtual team. Yeah, it has a downside. Virtual team has a downside. So the first of them is that members of virtual team can have difficulties establishing good working relationships. Yeah, that can happen. And also the second one is that when computer is the go-between between the team members, then it can affect relationships, since relationship and interactions can be different and require special attention because they don't have face-to-face contact. The third downtime is that downside, I mean to say, is that the lack of face-to-face interaction limits the role of emotions and non-verbal cues in the communication process. This can perhaps depersonalize the relations among the team members. So that personal touch is eliminated because of the fact that they communicate mainly through computer in the cyberspace. So and then this will now lead us to how can we make it better? That team, even the virtual team, to be better, irrespective of the fact that their communication is mainly through in the cyberspace. So which leads us to team effectiveness. what is an effective team? I'll put it this way, the same way I have it in the screen. So if the team achieve high level of task performance, member satisfaction, and team viability, we say that it's an effective team. So that with regard to task performance, we say that an effective team achieves its performance goals in the standard sense of quality, quantity, and timeliness of work results. So for formal work until for a formal work unit such as manufacturing team, this may involve it may mean meeting daily production targets. But for temporary team, such as a new policy task force, this may mean or may involve meeting a deadline for submitting a new organizational policy to the company president. Now, when it comes to member satisfaction, it makes sense to infer that an effective team is one whose members believe that their participation and experiences are positive and meet the important personal needs. So they are basically satisfied with their main tasks, accomplishments, and interpersonal relationships. So these are the things that we see in an effective team, and that is why we say that they are effective. So which leads us to the third thing, which is with regard. Remember, I mentioned three things: task performance, member satisfaction, and team viability. So the next one is the team viability, in which case that the members of the effective team, the members of such team, we are sufficiently satisfied to continue working well together on an ongoing basis. So even when one task is finished, they look forward to working on others in the future, so that we say that such a team has all important long-term performance potential. So at this point, we are ready to look at synergy and team benefit again. Synergy, remember we came across synergy a few minutes ago. We can now look at it as it relates to team benefits. So I noted here that effective team offer benefit of synergy, whereby we have the creation of a whole that is greater than the sum of its parts. Well, that's the simplest way to explain synergy. A group that's performed better, have a greater performance. I mean, when you relate it to teams, a group that is their performance is much greater than the sum of their individual what it would be if they work separately and then combine the outcome. So performance advantage of teams over individual are most evident in three important situations. Now, the first one is when there is no clear experts. There's no clear expert for a particular task or problem. In that case, the teams tend to be better to make better judgment than does the average individual units. So now another situation is which is the second one, is when teams are typically more we say that well the second one is that teams generally we say that they are more successful than individuals when problems are complex and require a division of labor and the sharing of information. In that case, a team is much better. Then the third situation or scenario is that that when teams tend to make risky decisions, or when there is a need to make more risky decisions. then it's better to rely on teams, because they can be more creative and innovative than individuals. So now, any question before I continue? Any questions, class?
No, no question.
No.
Okay. Okay, then in that case, we can now look at social facilitation. Yeah. Now, when we say social facilitation, we are referring to the tendency for one's behavior to be influenced by the presence of others in a group or setting. So, in that case, that means the behavior is influenced by the presence of others in that group or social setting. Now we have a few things we need to know about social facilitations. I will look at two of them, which is the social facilitation in team context and social facilitation theory. Let's start with the first one. In team, as a team concept, we said in a team, when we look at in the light of a team concept, social facilitation can be a boost or a detriment to an individual member's performance contribution, because the performance is really influenced by the presence of others in a group. So it may not be the actual performance of that individual if he or she works in isolation. Another thing I need to look at is the social facilitation theory, which suggests that that working in the presence of others creates an emotional or arousal or excitement that stimulates behavior and affects performance. This is really good. If working with others can cause this kind of stimulation, that's the kind of stimulation that make you to put your best into the work. That's a good thing. So you can see that the social facilitation have its pros and cons. But we're not going to go into the pros and cons at this point. We're looking at the next concept, which is the social loafing and team problems. So social loafing. Let's look at social loafing. Social loafing, another name for social loafing is the Rainbow Man effect. Well, what does this mean? Well, I think we all know that already, because sometimes they give you a group assignment. You see that there'll be some people who are not willing to participate because they don't know that you're gonna be getting a group grade, whether they participate or not, or they think that, or they assume that whether they participate, they put their best or not. There are going to be some people working in the group, and at the end of the day, they gave the same grades. So we call it social loafing. I mean, it's the tendency of people to work less hard in a group than they would individually. Call it social loafing or Rainbow Man effect. So it was given that name because of an experiment conducted by the German psychologist Max Ringelmann. Okay, so that's why they call it that. The Ringelmann experiment basically, what he did is, Max Ringelmann pinpointed the phenomenon by asking people to pull on a rope. You can see I have a diagram here for you. So they asked people to pull on a rope, okay, as hard as they could. First alone and then as part of a team. So average productivity dropped as more people joined the rope pulling task. So Ringelmann suggested that people may not work as hard in groups because their individual contributions are less noticeable in the group context, and because they prefer to see others carry the workload. So, and I mean, like I said, it happens especially in group assignments, which I'm sure that you are aware of. So which leads us to the steps for preventing social loafing. How do we prevent it? There are many things we can do to prevent social loafing. One of them is keeping group size small. Don't make the group to be too large. maybe a team of instead of a team of 5, I have a team of 3. Or instead of having no, I'll take that back. Instead of having a team of 10, I might have a team of 5. You know. Now another one is to redefining roles. So by redefining roles so that free riders are more visible and peer pressure to perform are more likely. The third thing you can do is to increase accountability. Increasing accountability by making individual performance um, performance expectation. You can do that by making individual performance expectation clear and specific. Okay. Now, the fourth thing is to make rewards directly contingent on an individual's performance contribution to the group task. Now, we can take a look at other problems that team has. We'll be looking at 5 of them. We have personality conflicts, and of course, the difference in work styles, which can antagonize the members of the team. Now, sometimes the team members withdraw from active participation due to uncertainty over tasks and battles, about the goals and the ambitions or the visions of the group of the team. Now, another thing that problem can manifest in the form of ambiguous agendas or ill-defined problems, so that such ambiguous agendas can cause fatigue and loss of motivation when when teams work too long on the wrong things with little to show for it. Then the fourth one is this: not everyone is always ready to do group work. Yeah, some people just don't like group work. They would like to work alone. The next one will be low enthusiasm, which may result from perception of poor team organization or progress. It can also result from meetings that seem to lack purpose. So I have an article here that about bureaucracy and business. I don't want this one is not necessary here, so I'm not gonna. I would say just we have a chance read the article. Let's move on to the next thing, which is team stages of team development. We have 5 stages of team development. We have the forming stage, storming, norming, and performing. Actually, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one. There's one we call it adjoining. So I'm gonna add it here. Adjoining stage, and adjoining and adjoining. Okay. So now let's look at each of these stages in detail. Look at each of them in detail. Okay. The forming stage. Okay. It is in this stage. In this stage, most team members are positive and polite to each other. So some are anxious as they haven't fully understood what work the team will do. Others are simply excited about the task ahead. So that is what you see in the forming stage. So as a leader, you play a dominant role at this stage because team members' roles and responsibility are not clear. So this stage can last for some time because people start to work together. I would say as people start to work together and as they make an effort to get to know each other during this stage. So it can last for a while. The second stage is the storming stage. Storming stage. So at this stage, the team move into the team members start to push against boundaries established in the forming stage. So this is the stage where many teams fail because now at this stage, there might be conflict between team members because they have different working styles, or people may work in different ways for all sort of reasons, that might cause conflict. But if different working styles cause unforeseen problems, they may become frustrated. So, as a matter of fact, a team that survived this stage we know that team is the project will be completed. Now, storming can also happen in other situations, and I give an example for that. With team members starting to challenge authority, or when they start to jockey for position that as their roles are classified. So now it can even be if you haven't defined clearly how the team will work, people may feel overwhelmed by their workload, or they could be uncomfortable with the approach you are using. So that is things that we see in this stage. Now, some team members may start asking questions. What is the main purpose of this? What is the worth of the goal that brought them together? And then sometimes they might just decide to stick with the task at hand, even though they might be experiencing some stress in doing that. So particularly as they don't have a support of established processes or strong relationship with their colleagues. So this might occur. Like I said, any team that survived this stage will have the project completed. Which leads us to the next stage, is numbing stage. So at this stage, the team gradually moves into the a situation where people start to resolve their differences, appreciate their colleagues' strengths, and respect the authority of the leader. So at this stage, the team members know one another better. So it is only natural that they may socialize together, and they may be they are able to ask each other for help and provide constructive feedback. So at this stage, people also develop a stronger, I would say members of the team, we develop a stronger commitment to the team goal. And then it is at this time that you start to see good progress towards achieving those goals. Now, the fourth stage during the formation process for a team is called the performing stage. Now, at this stage, the team reaches the I would say the stage where when hard work leads without friction, and then all the hard work will now be geared towards achieving the team's goal. So as a leader, you can delegate much of your work, and you can concentrate on developing team members. So now at this stage, it is really more easy to be the member of the team, and and people who join or leave won't disrupt the performance of the team, because they have passed the stage of when they have problems, when they have the storming stage, when they have a lot of conflict. Then the final stage is the adjourning stage. Adjourning. So during the adjourning stage, many teams will reach this stage. It is very, I mean, if they, so long as they pass the storming stage, they will reach this stage eventually. For example, project teams exist for only a fixed period, and even permanent teams may be disbanded through organizational restructuring, so that team members who like routine or who have developed close working relationship um, um, with the other team members may find this stage to be difficult, particularly if their future now looks uncertain. So they find this stage, to be they will be uncomfortable with the stage. Now, what are the team tasks and team size? Yeah, these are two important concepts we need to look into now. Teams task and team size. Well, the tasks that a team perform depend on the tasks that were assigned to them. So, but the main thing is that for the tasks to be clear and well defined. So, if this is the case, it is easier for members to both know what they are trying to accomplish, and then to work together because they understand what the task is. But the task size, on the other hand, can impact the team performance. At this point, we are ready to look at the factor that affects the optimum team size. So I have 5 of them here. Okay, 5 of them is the first of all, the main thing is the purpose for forming the team. And the second one is the expectation you have of the team and its members. Then we have the third one, which simply put, it's the role that the team members need to play. And then the last two factors are the amount of cohesiveness and interconnectivity that is necessary for the optimal team performance. And then the last one, which is the function, activity, and goal of the team. Now, again, remember where this is about the optimum team size. So, what is this optimum team size? Well, I said something before about a team of 10 people being best thing to reduce it to 5 people in the team. So that will take us to optimum size. So now the optimum team size is not an easy answer because, well, I would say that from the experience and research, team size of 5 to 7 members can be considered optimum. So and also team size that continue to function effectively is 4 to 9 members. I will not recommend 4 to 9 members. I think 5 to 7 members should be the optimum. To me. Now, teams generally are known to function effectively with a size of up to 12 members, but the optimum size is 5 to 7. That should be the better size. So there are a few things we need to know here. Is that when voting is required, okay, then odd number teams are preferred to help rule out the votes. Okay. Rule out the tie, so to make sure that there's no ties, tie votes. So next one is the when careful deliberation are required, and the emphasis is more on consensus. In that case, such as especially in jury duty, or in very complex problem solving, even number teams may be more effective. Because actually in that case we might need to people to have the same opinion. So ties can be acceptable. So the even number forces members to confront disagreements and deadlocks rather than instead of simply resolve them by majority voting. Okay. Now, which leads to team composition. So simply put, it is the mix of abilities, skills, and personalities, and of course, experience that members bring to the team. So there's the rule of thumb for team composition. So the basic rule of thumb here is to choose members that have talents and interests that fit well with the task or job that they are assigned. Also, to look at the personal characteristics of the members. So you choose members of the team by looking at those of them that have talents and interests that fit well with the tasks that they accomplished, and also that whose personal characteristics increase the likelihood of being able to work together. Okay. So now we are ready to look at the Firo-B theory. Firo-B theory. This theory was developed by William Scores. And it suggests that teams, excuse me, it suggests that teams whose members have compatible needs are likely to be more effective than teams whose members are more incompatible. So the symptoms of the incompatibilities might include withdrawn members, open hostilities, struggles over control, and domination by a few members of the team. So what is the management implication of this? I will say it's the same way that Scores, who developed the theory, said it. According to Scores, the management, what you say about this management implication of the Firo-B theory is this: if at the outset we can choose a group of people who can work together harmoniously, then we shall go far toward avoiding situation where a group effort are wasted in interpersonal conflicts. So that is what he said. So that means that the bottom line is that from the get-go, choose a group of people who can work together harmoniously, so as to avoid situation, that will be very devastating for the organization. So we can now, after covering all these things, we are now ready to look at something that is a little bit different, which is status congruence. So we say that status congruence occurs if there is when a person's position within the team is equivalent in status to the position of the individual hold outside of it. So that means the position that a person has within the team is equivalent in status to the position that he has or he holds outside the team. So if there's a status incongruence, then you're gonna cause trouble. I'll illustrate with example. In high power distance cultures, such as Malaysia, the chair of a committee is expected to be the highest ranking member of the group. So that when this is the case, the status congruity makes members comfortable in proceeding with their work. Now, but if the senior member of the is not appointed to head the committee, perhaps because an expatriate member from another culture selected the chair on some other criteria, then members are likely to feel uncomfortable and have difficulty working together. So similar problems might occur, for example, when a young college graduate in his or her first job is appointed to chair a project team that is composed of senior and more experienced workers. So whenever this kind of incongruence happens, it will create problems. We can now start rounding up, winding down because of our time is almost over by looking at power distance. So what is power distance? So a simplest way to explain power distance is that it means the way in which power is distributed and the extent to which less powerful accept that power is distributed unequally. So in high power distance culture, relationship between bosses and subordinates are one of dependence. So high power distance cultures, there's this belief that the boss is almost like a god, So because of that, they have more respect for the boss in high power distance cultures than in low power distance culture. So now when the power distance America, a good example of country that has high power distance culture. We have them. I think I mentioned them already. Countries like Hong Kong, China, India, and most of African countries. So in those cultures, leaders are expected to resolve disputes as well as make difficult decisions. So Japan is another country. Of course, Japan is in Asia, the high power distance cultures. So those cultures, leaders are, almost like God. But in low power distance cultures, that one is different because in such cultures, especially in a country like United States, Britain, Australia, Canada, France. So these are the low power distance countries. In these countries, there's a preference for consultation, and subordinates will quite readily approach and contradict their bosses. This is something you cannot do in high power distance countries. In America, the boss, people can challenge the boss, but it's not the case in China or Japan. Can't do that because they have a high power distance culture. So the parties will openly work toward resolving any disputes by stating their own points of view. If they cannot come to a satisfactory conclusion, then they may choose to involve a mediator. So leaders in a lower power distance culture actually encourage independent thoughts and attribution, and contributions to problem solving, and expects, of course, with reason, to be challenged. So that's why, because of that, because the people who live in that culture, they believe that they know that even your subordinate might know something that you, the boss, do not know. So they encourage it, and that's why if you compare countries with low power distance culture to countries with high power distance culture, you see that those with low power distance culture are more technologically advanced and economically strong. Because in high power distance culture, the boss know everything, whether he's right or wrong. So it means that whatever you know that might help the organization, you keep it to yourself. Basically, it's a way of saying that you talk when you are when you are given the opportunity to talk. Now, at this point, I think we have a less than 2 minutes. There isn't much we can achieve in less than 2 minutes. So I will have to time out end the class for now. But before I do that, any question for me?
No.
Okay. So remember to do your homework and the test. I promise I must finish grading your papers this weekend.
Okay.
So you guys have a good night. And I'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.